Hi, this is Mrs. Nagayama, and this is a review video that will help you with the Unit 1 test. Please review all past quizzes in Unit 1 before taking this test. Okay, so what we'll be doing is going through each question, a select number of questions from the Unit 1 test, and going over some of the concepts to help you understand why the correct answer is correct. So the first concept is structure versus function. So remember, structure is the shape or design of something, and function would be the purpose or job of something. They always go hand in hand. They are never isolated from one another. They complement each other. So here's a sample question. Which statement best represents how structure relates to function? A horse's mane or hair is often black. B, many tropical birds can be taught to speak. C, butterfly cocoons are often camouflaged. Or D, some insects live longer than others. Remember, we're looking for the statement that relates structure, which is the shape or design of something, with the function, which is the purpose or job of something. Therefore, the best answer for this one would be C, butterfly cocoons are often camouflaged. The function of a cocoon is to protect, and camouflage is really important in order to protect the butterfly cocoon because it doesn't allow other predators to see the cocoons and damage it. Here's another question. Which statement is a hypothesis that would best address the question, are deer eating the young hemlocks, which is a type of plant, and preventing them from growing? So that's the question we're trying to answer. Are deer eating the young hemlocks or plants and preventing them from growing? So we want to figure out which of these statements would best represent a hypothesis for this question. A, deer are eating young hemlocks. B, if the hemlocks are tasty to the deer will eat them. C, if deer are eating young hemlocks, then keeping deer away from the young trees will allow the trees to grow. Or D, deer will eat young hemlocks but not old hemlocks. Here's a review of what a hypothesis is. It's a possible explanation for an observation based on information and knowledge. So it's going to be some sort of explanation. And you see in red that the structure of a hypothesis is that we structure it in an if-then statement. If some sort of criteria, then some sort of explanation. So when we look at these options, we see that only B and C have the if-then statements. But C is even better because it says it actually answers our question. Are deer eating the young hemlocks and preventing them from growing? C is a hypothesis that actually answers the question and addresses whether the young trees are actually affected by the deers eating them. All right, another concept we went over this unit is the organization of life. We know that the cell is the smallest unit of life. A group of cells would be made up of similar tissue. A group of cells would be made up of tissue. A group of tissue would make up an organ. A group of organs make up an organ system, and a group of organ systems would make up an organism. So the sample question would be, which of the following shows the level of organization in a multicellular organism from smallest to largest? So we know that below you see the picture, the smallest would be the cell, the biggest would be organism. So you need to find the one that actually describes it in order. And the answer would be C, cell, tissue, organ system, and then organism. Here's another sample question. The desert tortoise digs a burrow and hides in it during the day to stay cool because of the extreme heat above ground. Which characteristic of life does this behavior best illustrate? So we have a tortoise that goes underground during the day because it's too hot. This sounds really similar to the example that we gave about the bears hibernating, that when it gets cold, the bears decide to hibernate. And this is because living organisms have the characteristic of responding to the changes in their environment. So the best answer for this one would be B, response. Another concept we went over was independent versus dependent variable. When one performs an experiment, you only want to test one variable so that you know that the reason why an experiment turned out the way it does is because of that one variable you tested. So the variable that you are testing is called the independent variable, and the dependent variable will be the variable that is being measured. So in the example we gave in Unit 1.05 quiz presentation, we talked about the petri dishes and the bacteria colonies growing. And the independent variable was that we put the petri dishes in different temperatures, one in hot temperatures, one in cold temperatures. So the variable that we're testing is actually the effect of temperature. So that would be our independent variable. The thing that we're measuring, or the dependent variable, were the number of bacteria colonies. So the sample question from the Unit 1 test is, which of the following best describes the dependent variable in an experiment? Is it A, the variable that is measured, B, the variable that is manipulated, C, the variable that you can see, or D, the variable that is the most common? We look again at what the dependent variable is, and it's the variable that is being measured. So the answer to this one would be A, the variable that is measured. So this concludes the review for the Unit 1 test. I highly suggest you to review all the other quiz reviews, videos before taking the Unit 1 test. Remember, if you score below a 60%, I highly encourage you to take it again because a 60% is passing in the class. If you have any other questions, please email me and I can email you more resources.